Okay, so it's been a little bit over a year since the Nikon Z6II has come out. Uh, Pretty much been a little bit over a year since I've had it. So with having it for a year, going through different things with it, ups and downs, highs and lows, all that kind of stuff, I thought it was time to basically do a year review video of the Nikon Z6II because maybe you're still on the fence. Maybe you are still a DSLR shooter and you need to move to mirrorless, but you're not sure, which camera you should switch to. Should you switch brands if you're, a Nikon DSLR shooter, or maybe you're trying to switch from another brand, whatever your case is. So hopefully this helps you out. Hopefully this, makes your choice a little bit better, a little bit easier. I'm gonna jump in, right now and just discuss what my year has been with the Z6II. So just starting off, uh, ergonomics is still fine. Granted, the shape of the camera can't change from, my beginning early review all the way until now, unless you drop it, stuff like that. But, it's more so about, so not necessarily changes in the ergonomics, but more so in the actual use when you're using it. When you're doing long shoots, or maybe you're just out and about doing things for a long period of time, how does it feel? How does it feel in your hand? And that can be, more so, does your hand hold onto the grip well, because depending on different sizes of your hand, some people's pinkies can sometimes fall down, or it technically sits like underneath the camera and stuff like that. And then also the weight of the camera. If you're doing things for a long period of time, you do have to think about the weight, because that can bring along fatigue a lot faster, especially when you're adding in, larger lenses and stuff like that. So in terms of the Z6II, I haven't had, any issues about that at all. I believe the weight is perfectly fine, no matter if you have, a small lens on it. The smallest lens that I own for this camera is the 35 millimeter 1.8. So when you're going from a lens that small to the 24 to 70 f2.8, it's not that big of a difference. Now I'm pretty sure, it'll be definitely be an increase in weight if you were to put, possibly the 70 to 200, or if you shelled the money out for the not, 0.95. But, most people aren't going to get the knock, for one. And then two, if you have the 70 to 200, you'll probably have it on a tripod, or you'll probably be, more stationary, not necessarily going to be on the go. Not saying you won't be on the go, but you're more likely to be stationary and things like that, or in a more controlled setting. So to be honest, the weight's fine, the ergonomics is fine, the button placement is fine. It only took me a little bit to get used to, where the joystick is, where the info button is. So maybe I could change different settings real quick depending on how, my setting or my situation changes. Changing, the ISO and stuff like that. Like everything's in a great spot to where once you have the camera up, up to your eye, and you're doing whatever it is that you need to do, you have a good feel of where everything is, and without even looking, you can, move your thumb and, you know, change and select whatever it is that you need to change and select. So a year in, ergonomics is good to go. I know one of the big things that a lot of people were questioning with this camera and Nikon in general was more so the autofocus. The autofocus has steadily been improving. They've had constant updates coming out. Not saying that every update has been for autofocus, but the autofocus is better now than what it was even when it started. Started as in when the camera came out. But even when the camera came out, it was still better than what the Z6 and Z7 were. Could it have been better? Absolutely. I remember mentioning in my initial review of the Nikon Z6II that it's still kind of hunt every now and then when you're in a more wide open setting. So like I was doing a test where I was like trying to take photos of things in my living room, and I was trying to focus on this one vase, but instead of it picking up the vase, it would probably pick up something on the countertop or something on the table. It would hunt around before it got to that. Did it do that every single time? No. Did it do that? Did it take it long to end up finding what I wanted it to find? No. But it's just a thing. Sometimes it hunts a little bit more because I know what I wanted to focus on, but it necessarily didn't always understand right away what I wanted it to focus on. Most of the time to get around that, I would just, do the pinpoint selection for the focus, and I would just, move the marker over whatever my subject was, and, it focused right on it right away. So, the hunt feature of it was a little, yeah, but focusing in general, the focus of the camera is top notch. It basically helps out that Nikon for the Z series has some of the best lens out there, so that has been a great plus as well. So could it be a little bit faster? Yeah. Is it a problem with the way that it is now? No. So I mean, it's just nitpicking at certain things, and especially when you deal with the internet, people are gonna nitpick about certain stuff because everybody wants everything to be perfect. As soon as they find the slightest thing wrong or the slightest thing that doesn't go their way, people are calling it a trash product, or it's no good, or the company's not listening to its fans, or its consumers, whatever. I don't think that's the case here. Like, yes, there always could be something better, but it's fine. In other terms of performance, battery life is fine. I think at most I've gotten like 750 shots. Potentially could have gotten more, but I mean, I was just done with my day, or done with whatever I was doing at that time. There were times, most of the time when my battery would die, it was more so like I'm recording videos or using my camera as a webcam, and when I'm done, like I would just walk away and completely forget to turn the camera off. So after it's been sitting for a while, like I'll come back and it would be at like a low battery and things like that. And that's just because it was on, and especially when you have it on the webcam, like I switched my settings so it wouldn't turn off, because I was noticing that when the camera would turn off, because you're not pressing any buttons, you're not doing anything like that, that would also stop my feed, from whenever I was on Zoom and different things like that. And even when I would turn, like I would press the shutter button, just to wake it back up and everything, but my feed wouldn't come right back and things like that. So I went to the settings to change it so that the screen was always on, so that way I wouldn't have to worry about that. So that was one reason why my battery would die, So it's not necessarily like, oh, it was a performance issue as to why, the battery died. It was, a user setting that I have. And I just, I think I actually, if I'm not mistaken, I made that my U1 setting. So as long as I'm not in U1, it goes to sleep whenever it's not, in action, or I'm not using it, things like that. So the battery life has been fine. You get plenty of shots on it, no matter what size, XQD card you have in there. I do both XQD and SD, and I do redundancy. The redundancy doesn't come into effect when you're recording video, and I believe it's only video of definitely 4K. Not sure if it's 1080 as well, but it's just because the SD card just can't, handle that type of footage yet, or probably ever. I don't know, but I mean, it's no problem. Most of the time, whenever I record video, once I'm done, I'm immediately uploading it into my computer, uploading onto a hard drive. So the redundancy on the video is not that big of a deal for me, but just the redundancy of the photos was a big plus. So I'm real glad that they put the dual card slot in here versus what they had in the Z6 and Z7. So that's been a lifesaver. But it's not that much of a difference. It's just an evolution of the Z6, or if you have the Z6II, it's just an evolution of the Z7. I've used both sets of cameras, the Z6 and Z7, and now the Z6II and Z7II. So with all of them, it's not that big of a jump, that big of a difference. It's just things that we kind of wish they had initially put in the originals. They have them in, the updated versions, the part 2 versions. So would I recommend this camera to anybody? Yes, I would. I've already told other photographers that I've talked to, other people that, are kind of on the fence of, I want to jump in the mirrorless, but I don't know what I want to go to, because it's a big shift. It's a big change. It wasn't as big for me because I didn't have that much equipment. So it's not like I was going to have to sell everything, or I had all this stuff that wasn't going to be as compatible, or I had to buy all these adapters and stuff like that. It wasn't like that for me. So it was a little bit easier for me than, probably be for you or for other people. But I did definitely tell some people, like, hey, if you are a Nikon shooter, go on ahead and, switch over to mirrorless. You'll be perfectly fine. All your equipment will be good to go for it, and in terms of like your lenses and stuff like that, and just about almost any equipment would have been okay, would have been fine. Certain people are thinking about Sony and Canon. I don't deter people, because at the end of the day, all of these are just tools. We're the ones that just have to go out there and still create. They're just tools that help us, do our art a whole lot easier and a whole lot better. So I'm not here to bash any other brand or anything like that. But I just, because I am a Nikon shooter, I just let them know how it's been for me, how I've been with Nikon the whole time, and that for the price you get a very good product for your price. It's not like you're spending this price and you're like, oh my gosh, I wish I had this, I wish I had that. You literally get a little bit of everything, and you can shoot just about anything that you need to shoot, whether it's stills or video. So it's not like you're sacrificing anything, you're giving something up. Pretty much the only thing I tell people, do you need something with high megapixels or low megapixels? And I mean, 24 and a half isn't necessarily low megapixels, but compared to, the 45 of the Z7, it's the lower megapixel spec. But, if you want faster performance, then you want the Z6 over the Z7. If you want better video performance, you want the Z6 over the Z7, or in this case, the Z6II over the Z7 II. So it's all just your preference. But I would recommend either one to anybody. And it's good to go ahead and jump in now, because Nikon's even done a whole lot better. At least to me, it feels like I'm more encouraged and I'm even more excited about the future of Nikon, because after the announcement of the Z9 and all the features that we're seeing in the Z9, all the improvements, and in terms of improvements, I'm just talking about things that, they didn't just necessarily follow status quo. They're like, look, we're going to do our own stuff. We're going to move at our pace, but we're going to put out a tremendous product. So I plan on getting the Z9 here in a few months, hopefully, and I can do a full review on that. But the biggest thing about it is, it's each time Nikon has put out a product, in the new mirrorless camera line, it's all been better. They haven't disappointed. No announcement's disappointed me yet. No camera that I've touched has disappointed me yet. So it's all been wonderful. I remember one of the things I said about this camera that I wish they had said, I'm glad they put dual card slots in here. I just wish it was dual XQD, CF Express card slots. Granted, they didn't do it, but they did give us the dual card slots. In the Z9, we have dual XQD CF Express card slots. So, they're always making improvements. Things are always getting better, and I'm happy for that. But, I just wanted to make this quick video just to let you know my thoughts on the Z6II. If I think it's a, worthy camera, which I definitely do. If I think you should get it, I definitely do. If you're on the fence of, moving into the mirrorless, or what type of mirrorless camera you should buy. If you have any questions, just drop me a comment below. I'll be more than happy to respond to you, let you maybe have something specific that I didn't cover in here. You want something more in detail, I can give you an answer to that. Maybe you have your own comments because you have a Z6II, or you have another camera that, it's in the same field, in the same class, that you want to compare it to, that you might think is better. Drop it in the comment below. We can debate about it, talk about it. I'm never one to shy away from a little friendly debate. But, last thing I just want to say, please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. I'm glad that you're here. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.